Good day, everyone. I'm Andrei and I will be the first reporter of Group 4. Um, so today, we are done with our last lesson of our subject training and development, which is lesson 4, social responsibility and the future. Let's start first with the overview of this lesson. These lessons will be divided into two parts, which are part 10, social responsibility, legal issues, managing diversity, and career challenges, which focuses on how training contributes to a company's social responsibility through partnership with unions, community colleges, and other educational institutions. Also in managing diversity. And part 11, the future of training development, discusses how training and development will evolve in the future. And for learning outcomes, by the end of these lessons, we will be able to first determine the external and internal issues concerning employee training and development. Second, explain the importance of career management in an organization. Third, analyze the model of career development. Fourth, discuss the roles of employees, HR managers, and a company in implementing career management. Next, evaluate a career management system. And last, determine the challenges in implementing career management. So let's start now with the first part of the lesson, which is all about social responsibility, legal issues, managing diversity, and career challenges. So how training and development help and contribute to the company? Training and development should help companies achieve their business goals, resulting in profits and, for publicly traded companies, positive returns to stockholders. But stockholders represent only one of the parties or stakeholders that have an interest in a company's success. Other important stakeholders include the local community and employees who can also benefit from training and development. Poor companies have a social responsibility to help improve the communities where they are located by protecting the environment, supporting cultural activities, and helping reduce poverty and unemployment. So, what is social responsibility? Um, soc- Social responsibility is the responsibility of an organization for the impacts of its decisions and activities on society and the environment. Through transparent and ethical behavior that contributes to sustainable development, including health and the welfare of society, takes into account the expectation of stakeholders. Social responsibility also means that companies need to comply with laws and regulations, but perhaps more importantly, take actions and create conditions to help all employees grow, develop, and contribute to company goals, regardless of their background and career issues they are facing. It means having social responsibility will make companies to be long-lasting. Now, let's move forward to training partnerships which talking which talks about an organization and agencies including different first training partnerships. Agencies, trade groups, foundations, and companies are working with schools to develop employee skills and provide jobs. Under these training partnerships, there is so-called sector partnerships. These refer to government agencies and industry trade groups that help identify the skills that local employers require and work with community colleges, universities, and other educational institutions to provide qualified employees. Next, partnerships can focus on jobs that require more than a high school diploma but less than a four-year college degree, and some provide skills that are needed for professional employees such as engineers. Through such partnerships, workforce skill needs can be met faster than if individual employers work alone. So it is really a big help for a company to search for potential employees. Aside from that, there are also some programs which are specifically directed at helping the hard to employ, such as low income or homeless people or individuals with a criminal record, escape the poverty cycle through learning marketable skills and helping them a good job. In order to achieve the goal of training and development, which is to support the workforce acquiring knowledge, skills, and abilities required for effective job performance of the youth. Federal legislation encourages partnerships between educational institutions, employers, and labor unions, which supported by the first um, School to Work Opportunities Act of 1994. Um, it is designed to assist the states in building school-to-work systems that prepare students for high-skill, high-wage jobs or future education. The Act encourages partnerships between educational institutions, employers, and labor unions. The Act requires that every school-to-work system include work-based learning, school-based learning, and connecting activities that match students with employers and bring classrooms and workplaces together. This act was jointly administered by the Department of Labor and Education in United States of America. This act is a new approach to education and workforce development that seeks to better prepare all American youth for careers in high skills, high wage jobs, and to strengthen the linkages between what is learned in school with work. Aside from the School to Work Opportunities Act, President Obama signed the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act or WIOA into law way back 2014, which is Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which designed to help job seekers access employment, education, training, and support services to succeed in the labor market and to match employers with skilled workers. Where WIOA is an amendment and the reauthorization of the Workforce Investment of 1998. WIOA received bipartisan support or involving the agreement of cooperation of two political parties that usually oppose each other's policies in Congress and is the first legislative reform, which were the process of examining existing laws and advocating and implementing changes in legal system, usually with the aim of enhancing justice or efficiency. In 15 years old of the public workforce system, it means the act shall take effect upon considering and seeing the existing law. So in result with that, WIOA streamlines workforce development system by eliminating existing programs, but it established a common set of metrics for evaluating remaining programs. It provides states with the flexibility to direct funds to develop skills needed in their region and workforce, and it supports access to on-the-job training and development opportunities. Also, it ensures that individuals with disabilities have the necessary skills to be successful in employment, and it improves outreach to out-of-school youth and high school dropouts, which means this act is for all people who are entitled to be as successful with their own skills. Um, After, the cornerstone of the system is one-stop service delivery, which unifies numerous training, education, and employment programs into a single customer-friendly system in each community, while the underlying notion of one-stop is the coordination of programs, services, and governance structure so that customers have access to a seamless system of workforce investment services. It is envisioned that a variety of programs could use one-stop's common intake, case management, and job development services in order to take full advantage of one-stop's potential for efficiency and effectiveness. A wide range of services, including training and employment programs, are available to meet the needs of employers and job seekers. Despite of the benefits of one-stop service, there is a challenge which preventing it to live up to its potential, which is to make sure that the state and local boards can effectively coordinate and collaborate with a network of other service agencies, including Temporary Assistance for Needy Families or TANF agencies, transportation agencies and providers, metropolitan planning organizations, childcare agencies, nonprofit and community partners, and the broad range of partners who work with youth. In support on one-stop service delivery, United States create a network in which where the primary source of occupational information located, and this network is called ONET or Occupational Information Network. So what is in the feature of ONET? Hmm. ONET or Occupational Information Network, it is a unique, comprehensive database and directory of occupational titles, worker competencies, and job requirements and resources. Second, the ONET database includes information on skills, abilities, knowledge, work activities, and interests associated with occupations. ONET information can be used to facilitate career exploration, vocational counseling, and a variety of human resource or HR functions such as developing job orders, creating position descriptions, and aligning training with current workplace needs. So it means job seekers can just own it to find out which jobs fit with their interests, skills, and experience, and to identify the skills, knowledge, and abilities needed to their dream job. And aside from training partnerships, there is a joint union management programs which has an initial goal of help to displaced employees find new jobs by providing skill training and outplacement assistance. And this is the joint union management programs, where currently joint union management training programs provide a wide range of services designed to help employees learn skills that are directly related to their jobs and also develop skills that are portable, that is, valuable to employers in other companies or industries. Both employers and unions contribute money to run the programs and both oversee their operation. Now, let's move forward to legal issues and managing a diverse workforce at home and abroad. Lo- um, let's proceed first to legal issues. So, what is legal issues? Legal issues or issue of law is a legal question which is the foundation of a case. It requires a court's decision. It can also refer to a point on which the evidence is undisputed, the outcome of which depends on the court's interpretation of the law. So doing training shall follow all the legal terms or law in avoidance to different legal issues. And here is the sample table that shows potential training activities and situations that can make an employer vulnerable to legal actions and harm the company's reputation. The following sections I will show describe each situation and potential implication of training, and this is the table. This is the situation that may result in legal acts. And next is managing workforce diversity and inclusion. where I will define and give some ideas about these two highlighted words, such as first is diversity, which is the representation of different people in an organization, or can be considered any dimension that differentiates a person from another. And another is there is so-called diversity training, which refers to learning efforts that are designed to change employee attitudes about diversity and or develop skills needed to work with a diverse workforce. And diversity training has two goals, which are first, to eliminate values, stereotypes, and managerial practices that inhibit employees' personal development, and therefore, second, to allow employees to contribute to organizational goals regardless of their race, sexual orientation, gender, family status, religious orientation, or cultural background, which protected by Equal Employment Opportunity or EEO laws. Um, Equal Employment Opportunity or EEO, it helped to ensure that women and minorities are adequately represented in the company's labor force. It means companies have focused on ensuring equal access to jobs. However, ay, sorry. However, diversity training and focus on EEO laws are insufficient for a company to truly capitalize on the value of a diverse workforce. They are one part of a larger emphasis on managing diversity and inclusion. In addition, there's a research that diversity training has a small to medium effect on effective or attitudes, cognitive or acquiring knowledge, and behavioral outcomes. And the greater benefits were found for diversity training using training design features that created a positive learning environment that is this is the greater benefits. The training program was sufficient length for trainees to learn 4 hours or more. Managers were used as trainers, and trainees interacted face-to-face with the instructor, the content, and other learners using cases and exercises, in which the most common area addressed through diversity training is the pervasiveness of stereotypes, assumptions, and biases. While the next word is inclusion. Inclusion refers to creating an environment in which employees share a sense of belonging, mutual respect, and commitment from others so they can perform their best work. Also, inclusion allows companies to capitalizing not only on the diversity of employees, but also customers, suppliers, and community partners. Now, since we already know the definition and background of diversity and inclusion, let us proceed to the main point of the two mentioned words, which is managing diversity and inclusion, which involves creating an environment that allows all employees to contribute to organizational goals and experience personal growth, wherein the environment includes first, access to jobs, second, as well as fair and positive treatment of all employees, which I believe that the company must develop employees who are comfortable working with people from a wide variety of ethnics, racial, and religious backgrounds. However, managing diversity may require changing the company culture. It includes the company's standards and norms about how employees are treated, competitiveness, results orientation, innovation, and risk-taking. Because the value placed on diversity is grounded in the company culture. Yes, remember that. Um, Managing diversity and inclusion can also provide companies with a competitive advantage in several different ways, which can help a company to develop a reputation as a favorable employer which attracts talent, women, and minority employees. With that, women and minority employees will feel valued and free to contribute their insights, which can help develop new products and improve marketing efforts focused on specific consumer segments such as Hispanics and diversity. Um, Take note of this, guys. Diversity is a reality in labor and customer markets and is a social expectations and value. Managers should focus on building an organizational environment, on HR practices, and on managerial and team skills that all capitalize on diversity. And always remember also that diversity may enhance performance when organizations have an environment that promotes learning from diversity. And there is no evidence to support that the direct relationship between diversity and business. Rather, a company will see the success of its diversity efforts only if if it makes a long-term commitment to managing diversity and has a zero tolerance policy toward discrimination. And a successful diversity requires that it be viewed as an opportunity for all employees to first learn from each other how to better accomplish their work. Second, be provided with a supportive and cooperative organizational culture. And last, be taught leaderships and process skills that can facilitate effective team functioning. As you will see in the discussion that follows, managing diversity requires difficult cultural change, not just slogans on the wall. And before I end my report, here I have a table that shows characteristics associated with diversity programs' long-term success. This is the table. This is the characteristic associated with diversity programs' long-term success. Um, that's all for my report. Thank you for listening. The continuation of this topic will be discussed by the next reporter. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Rovimae from Group 4 and I'm here to discuss all about cross-cultural preparation. So cross-cultural preparation, it educates employees or expatriates and their families who are to be sent to a foreign country. To successfully conduct business in the global marketplace, employees must understand the business practices and the cultural norms of different countries. Now, we have the steps in cross-cultural preparation. To succeed overseas, expatriates or employees on foreign assignments needs to be, first, competent in their areas of expertise. Next is to able to communicate verbally and non-verbally in the host country. The next one is to become flexible, tolerant of ambiguity, and sensitive to cultural differences. The next is to be motivated to succeed, able to enjoy the challenge of working in other countries, and willing to learn about the host country's culture, language, and customs. And the last one is to be supported by their families. Now let's proceed to pre-departure phase. In here, before departure, employees need to receive language training and training focused on the new country's culture and customs. English is the common language at many multinational companies, but failing to speak the native language can cause employees to risk being misinterpreted or fail to understand informal conversations. Speaking and understanding the local language can help employees end misunderstandings and gain greater respect from business partners, subordinates, and customers. Cross-cultural training methods include presentational techniques such as lectures that expats and their families attend on the customs and culture of the host country, e-learning, immersion experiences, or actual experiences in the home country in culturally diverse communities. Experiential exercises such as mini-culture experiences allow expats to spend time with a family in the United States from the ethnic group of the host country. Now let's proceed to on-site phase. On-site training involves continued orientation to the host country and its custom and cultures through formal programs or through a mentoring relationship. Expatriates and their families may be paired with an employee from the host country who helps them understand the new, unfamiliar work environment and community. Additionally, expatriates should be encouraged to develop social relationships both inside and outside the workplace. Companies are also using websites and social media to help employees on expatriate assignments get answers to questions such as, how do I conduct a meeting here? Or what religious or business philosophy might have influenced today's negotiation behavior? Companies also are using websites and social media to help employees who are not expatriates but interact with clients around the world or work on cross-cultural teams requiring limited travel, such as IBM. IBM uses social networking tools to connect its employees around the world. Now, let's proceed to repatriation phase. Repatriation prepares expatriates for return to the parent company and home country from the foreign assignment. Expatriates and their families are likely to experience high levels of stress and anxiety when they return because of changes that have occurred since their departure. Employees should be encouraged to self-manage the repatriation process. Before they go on the assignment, they need to consider what skills they want to develop and the types of jobs that might be available in the company for an employee with those skills. Because the company changes and colleagues, peers, and managers may leave while the expatriate is on assignment, they need to maintain contact with key company and industry contacts. Otherwise, on return, the employee's re-entry shock will be heightened when they have to deal with new colleagues, a new job, and a company culture that may have changed. Now let's proceed to the next one. Employees' careers involve 4 stages. The first one is exploration, second is establishment, third is maintenance, and the last is decline. In the exploration stage, employees attempt to identify the type of work that interests them. They consider their interests, values, and work preferences, and begin pursuing the type of education and training they need. However, establishment involves finding employment, making an independent contribution, achieving more responsibility and financial success, and establishing a suitable lifestyle. In the maintenance stage, individuals are concerned with keeping their skills up to date and being perceived as someone who are still contributing to the company. They have many years of experience, much job knowledge, and an in-depth understanding of how business is conducted. The last stage, disengagement, involves individuals preparing to phase out of work and retire. Although individuals can go through the stages in a linear fashion and at certain ages, most individuals do not because today's careers are boundaryless and often change. This means that careers may involve identifying more with profession than the present employer, resulting in job changes. Also, at different times in their lives, individuals reconsider their interests, values, and how to best use their skills, resulting in one or more career changes. And that's all for my report. Now let's proceed to the next reporter.
Hi everyone, I am Raul Canon. For my part, I will discuss the additional 4 main topics under Lesson 4. So we will be tackling the work-life balance and its practices. We will also be knowing the definition and information about career paths and dual career paths. I will also explain career cycling with subtopics which are the recycling and job hopping. So let's start our discussion. Let me first read the definition of work-life balance. Work-life balance is a state of equilibrium in which a person prioritizes both his or her professional and personal obligations equally. So we need to understand that the work-life balance is defined by how employees manage their time both at work and outside the workplace. Some people will ask, why does a company need to have a good work-life balance? So it's because a healthy work environment requires a good work-life balance. Maintaining this will reduce the stress and prevent workplace burnout. So when we say workplace burnout or what we call the job burnout, it is a type of work-related stress that involves a sense of reduced accomplishment and loss of personal identity. So moving forward, supporting the work-life balance, we have the Family and Medical Leave Act. So let me read the definition of this act. It provides certain employees with up to 12 weeks of unpaid job-protected leave per year. It also requires that their group health benefits will be maintained during the leave. So I believe that this act will be beneficial for employees because the issue here is the result which is harmful for the employees. The company must value recreation, time with family and friends, and engaging in other activities outside the work. Also, the main purpose of this act is to help employees balance their work and family responsibilities. So, by allowing them to take reasonable unpaid leave for certain family and medical reasons. So, it also seeks to promote equal employment opportunity for men and women. For the next one, we will now discuss the different work-life balance practices. When we say work-life balance practices, these are the planned organizational change intended to reduce work-life conflict and allowing employees to be more effective at work and in other responsibilities. So the first example is the telecommuting, wherein it is an arrangement that allows employees to work remotely, and in that way, it will be more easier for the worker to do its job while relaxing and staying at home. Under this, we have a term called compressed work week, which refers to a work schedule that allows employees to work fewer days but with longer work hours. It has the purpose of giving employees more or additional days to spend in doing their responsibilities outside the work. So for the second practice under work-life balance is the flex time. It is simply not having a set schedule. Employees with flexible work arrangement usually have the freedom to schedule their start and ending time. They have the capability to plan, but they must make sure that the 8-hour per day will be implemented and followed. So another work-life balance practice is the job sharing. A job sharing arrangement is a full-time job split between two people. They will be working as one to attain the job success. Yes, they will have less workload, but the negative side of this is the reduce of salary due to the fact that they are helping in one job. Also shown are the other work-life balance practices that a company can offer to their employees. We must also remember that not all organizations are considerate in giving work-life balance arrangements. So the examples are shown: the flexible work schedules, the job sharing, child care, elder care, personal leave, telecommuting, reduced meeting times, reduced work hours, adoption support, paid vacation time, and personal services. So for our next one, Additionally, I want to add ways on how to attain work-life balance in a company. I have here 10 ways, so let us discuss this one by one. So number 1 is taking time off between work. Taking a break between jobs can help you cope with stress. The human body needs a time to rest because it cannot endure long hours of work. Some activities can be beneficial to do, like you can stand or stretch. Also, a quick nap will help you gain extra energy. So the second one is the volunteering time off. I believe that being involved in social causes will help you remove your stress from work. It will also boost the company's social responsibility. Also, helping other people makes us feel relieved and happy, seeing the beneficiaries to be happy at the same time. So for the third one, the proper planning. Another method for maintaining a good work-life balance is to plan the daily activities at work. It assists employees in prioritizing their actions based on the relevance of the task. Planning will also save a lot of time that will truly help in the lives of the people inside the company. For our fourth one, encouraging a healthy lifestyle. So in order to attain a healthy work-life balance, an employee must maintain a healthy lifestyle. Employees who are in good health are the key assets of any company. Employees' physical and emotional health are harmed by a poor work-life balance. Lastly, encouraging the employees to have a healthy lifestyle reduces a variety of health issues. For our fifth way on how to attain the work-life balance is to encouraging no work at home policy during non-working hours. So some employees frequently take their work home to rush for the upcoming deadlines. It will be a serious issue because an employee must rest when he or she is home. Excessive workloads reduces the amount of rest that the human body requires. So for our sixth one is the flexible work schedule. Maintaining a good work-life balance is impossible if there is no free time available after work. Having a flexible work schedule is important because flexibility in work hours allows employees to spend the same amount of time to their personal and social lives as they do to their work. So for our seventh way is the time management. When it comes to achieving the right work-life balance, time management is crucial. Employees with no knowledge about this tend to be overwhelmed by work and have no time for themselves. Daily schedule is one way in helping to attain a good time management. So for our eighth way to attain work-life balance is to encourage hobbies. A successful work-life balance includes more than just prioritizing work and family. It is also about prioritizing the activities that you enjoy. Employees who have pastime will find it easier to cope with their tight schedule. For our ninth way is to encourage work from home. Working from home supports work-life balance. Maintaining a work-life balance is important not only for your personal health and relationship, but it can also help you perform better at work. Encouraging employees to work at home at least once a week will help them cleanse from the everyday stress in the office. So for our last way to attain work-life balance is the time-to-time feedbacks and work-life balance surveys. Employees' evaluation on a regular basis are important element in maintaining a good work environment. This will allow the employees and even the employers to address issues that may be preventing the achievement of a good work-life balance. So after knowing the 10 ways on how to attain work-life balance, we will now move on with the next topic, which is the career paths. Career paths assist employers in providing employees with career options that best suit their personal circumstances. Employees go through a company's career path, which is the series of job roles involving similar types of labor and skills. So this is the this is an example of a career path wherein you need to start from the bottom until you reach the time while learning until you reach the time that you are going to the top while learning through experiences over the years. So there are three types of career paths. We have three different types that we need to study and consider. So the first type is the vertical career path. It is simply focuses on getting a promotion or stepping into another level or a higher level. So when you advance vertically in your chosen profession, you will usually get a raise in compensation and a promotion by your employer. Furthermore, it motivates the employees to use their prior experience and skills to move up to a corporate ladder in a vertical line. It is for another type is the horizontal career path. It is far different from the second type, which is the horizontal career path. A horizontal career path occurs when a person transfers from one position to another in order to gain skills, experience, and the information needed to advance their career upwardly in the future. So the last type of career path is the cross-functional career path. So workers who tend to enter this career path are individuals who are experts in one profession but have variety of skills to do other jobs. These are the people who has different functions inside the organization. So moving forward, we will now discuss the dual career path. A dual career path system enables employees to remain in a technical career path or move into a management career path. There are several characteristics to a dual career path. Salary, status, and incentives for technical employees compare favorably with those of managers. Individual contributors' base salary may be lower than that of managers, but they are given opportunity to increase their total compensation through bonuses. The individual contributor career path is not used to satisfy poor performers who have no managerial potential. The career path is for employees with outstanding technical skills. So, a dual career path entails considering how to prepare for a variety of work choices when you complete your graduate degree. We use the term dual because many graduate students intend to apply for jobs both inside and outside of their college course. A dual career path ladder has the advantage of providing company with alternate career path to offer employees instead of management promotions. Some employees lack the desire for management, so a dual career path allows them to advance. So let's move on to the career cycling. After becoming established in a certain field, recycling involves shifting one's primary professional activity. Recycling is accompanied by re-examination of one's values, skills, interests, and potential career paths. Individuals who recycle have the opportunity to shift employment or even careers. Sometimes, some employees become bored with their work or they are unable to find jobs that are more suitable to their personality and abilities. All in all, recycling gives employees the opportunity to reinvent themselves. So last topic for my part is the job hopping. It is a practice of changing your job very often. Many graduates view job hopping as a quick way to develop their career at the start. Job hoppers are more likely to shift jobs on their own initiative than getting laid off or having a company shut down. I can say that job hopping is bad if it's very often done. Job hopping may give you the appearance that you lack the responsibility since you are unable to stay with one company for an extended period of time. Managers might think that you are unreliable and does not want commitment. It also shows the employers that you only care about yourself. On the other hand, job hopping is not always negative. If you are going to change jobs, be sure you're doing so for a good cause. To avoid frequent job hopping, the company must provide employees with growth opportunities and offer incentives and rewards for good performance to enable them to attract and keep skilled workers. So that's all for my part. Thank you.
Good day, I'm Karylle Dula, the next reporter from Group 4, and I will now continue on with the discussion for Lesson 4. And I will be discussing the topics about coping with career breaks, coping with job loss, on meeting the needs of older workers, which includes the pre-retirement socialization, retirement, and early retirement programs. So, the first part of my report would be all about coping with career breaks. First, let's start with defining what is a career break. So, a career break can also be called as an adult gap year, and it is a period of time off from employment which can happen either for personal problems, professional development, or government military service. Career breaks are typically between 1 month and 2 years, although some people will initially commit to shorter breaks, for example a month, so they can try out new activities and see if they enjoy them before committing to a longer period of time. So, according to Harvard Business Review, 37% of female highly qualified professionals and 24% of males left their career at some point by taking a career break. However, the number is most likely to continue to grow with a large percentage of millennials in the workforce for whom the idea of a career break is much more normal compared to the previous generations. So, there are several reasons why employees take a career break, and they include the following. First is new interest in another type of field, which means that employees have found a new interest and they want to work on with that interest instead of continuing on with their work. Next is burnout, which means that employees is in a state where they lose all their motivation and incentive to do their jobs, which leads them to the decision of taking a career break in order to relax or do something they enjoy first. Next to that is the wavering priorities, and we all know that each employees have different kinds of priorities and sometimes they can't do everything all at once. Like for example, when a female employee needs to take care of her child, or a male employee is assigned or required by the government to partake in a military service. Because of that, they tend to go in a career break in order to prioritize what's more important for them than work. Lastly is having serious illnesses. Of course, employees can continue to work if they have serious illnesses that needs to be treated and prioritized more. Therefore, they decide to go on a career break first. So, in other countries like Korea and US, career breaks usually happen to chosen individuals who are required by the government to serve in the military and join the uniformed forces for some time. So, this kind of career break doesn't usually occur here in the Philippines since our government doesn't require us to undergo military training if we don't want to. Now, let's talk about what happens after a career break. So, first of all, both men and women face major problems in trying to return to work after not being exposed in the field for a matter of time. Next is, employees might experience financial loss because obviously, if the employee doesn't have any other work or business, they won't have any salary or income to sustain for their needs. Next is, employees might have difficulties in adjusting back to work because it can be difficult to adjust to the full-time working schedule again after being on break. Also, they might lose touch with their field of work because while they're on break, they failed to keep up to date with all the latest research, practices, and developments that are essential and important for their work, which connects to the last effect, which is employees might negatively affect their work progress. So, since there's a lot of effects a career break can give to employees, USERRA Act of 1994 is implemented. So, USERRA or Uniform Service Employment and Re-employment Rights Acts is a federal statute that protects the service members and veteran civilian employee rights. Among other things, and under certain conditions, USERRA requires employers to put individuals back to work in their civilian jobs after participating in a military service. So, they also protect service members from discrimination in the workplace based on their military service or affiliation.
Now that we've discussed the topic about coping with career breaks, let's now discuss about coping with job loss. First, let's define what is a job loss. So, a job loss is a situation wherein people lose their respective jobs, and this has now become a major issue not only in our country, but into other countries as well, because there has been an increase in the percentage of individuals who have lost their job lately. Job loss can also be called as termination of employment, which happens usually because of reorganization, downsizing, and layoffs. Now let's discuss downsizing. So, downsizing is one of the reasons why job loss happens to employees. It is a common approach to cutting costs used by companies overwhelmed by debt or struggling to keep up with their business expenses. Downsizing simply means releasing employees because the operation no longer needs them, or reorganization or restructuring of the institution has eliminated jobs. So, downsizing is a permanent reduction of employees in an organization. On the other hand, layoffs, this is an action by an employer to terminate employees for lack of work. So, layoffs can be temporary, but the laid off worker has no guarantee of being called back to work. Other than performance dissatisfaction, layoffs usually happen to seasonal or intermittent employment, which is common in some industries like construction. So, when companies conduct downsizing and layoff, it occurs to have several downside and negative effects. First of it is the loss of knowledge and experience. So, the longer an employee is with a company, the more information and skills they can acquire. Therefore, when employees are laid off during the downsizing process, the company loses more than just the employee itself, but they lose the employee's knowledge, experience, and expertise as well. Next, there is an increased workloads and pressure on remaining employees. So when companies downsize, gaps within the workloads are created. And this adds pressure to the remaining employees to not only complete their current job functions, but to also pick up additional work to compensate for the terminated employees. Also, there will be a loss of trust and security. So for obvious reasons, terminated employees are feeling a sense of insecurity as they are being forced to leave the company to find other work. So the remaining employees may also struggle with downsizing because even if their job has not been cut, knowing that their company is willing to lay off employees to cut costs can be an unsettling realization for them. And then, legal issues could also occur because if employees that were laid off feel as though that they were laid off due to discriminatory reasons, they may have grounds for a lawsuit. And then, lower employee morale also happens because the emotional toll of losing close colleagues and fears about the potential for more layoffs weigh on people. Laying off workers in important sales, service, or operational roles limits the production and proficiency of the organization in these areas. That's why negative impact on business happens, and there is a decrease in production and productivity as well. So, now that we know downsizing and layoffs have several negative impacts, let's talk about the alternative ways a company can do instead of downsizing first. So these alternatives can be a way to further eliminate the potential negative effects downsizing can give to employees. And the cost-saving alternatives instead of downsizing are the following. First is reduce hours, in which the goal is to reduce the number of hours worked by each employee. Next is implementing lower wages, which is done to save money and resources for the company. Alternative placement can also be an alternative wherein companies offer early retirement incentive to pension-eligible employees in a specific area. Next, alternative is the leave of absence, where people are offered a leave of absence with full benefits for a specified period of time to help an organization fix a downturn. Employee buyout could also be done wherein the company allows employees to buy the operation that was slated for closing to set up their own businesses. Lastly is the attrition, where companies are offering voluntary retirement programs or similar packages while waiting for people to retire or leave on their own. So, if downsizing can have its alternatives, outplacement services are expected to be done instead of laying off employees directly. So, let's talk about what is outplacement services. Outplacement is a service that helps a terminated employee with the transition to a new job, which can include resume writing, job research, and job coaching. So, outplacement services can have benefits and costs both for employers and employers, and it can be done to reduce the stress and turmoil for transitioning employees and to lessen the risk for the employer. So, the outplacement service should contain the following programs such as resume reviews, job search advice, interview training, personalized coaching, career assessments, and psychological counseling. Now, let's move on to the next part of my report, which is all about meeting the needs of older workers. So, first, in order to meet the needs of older workers, pre-retirement socialization must occur. So, pre-retirement socialization is a phase or process wherein the company helps the employees to learn everything about the retirement life, such as planning for adequate financial, housing, and healthcare resources. And it also helps in forming accurate expectations about retirement. It is also the process of providing employees with information that can assist them in making sound decisions in preparation for their retirement. So, financial and psychological problems could occur in employees after retirement. That's why companies must have pre-retirement programs in order to ease and solve the possible problems that might occur later on. So, these pre-retirement socialization programs are conducted to help the employees with their emotional and financial well-being after they retire. So, the pre-retirement programs usually tackle the following aspects. First is the psychological aspects of retirement, where they encourage employees to develop personal interests and activities. Next is the healthcare planning and benefits, where the companies provide strategies or programs that can help in the healthcare of their employees. Next is the estate planning, where companies educate their employees to make necessary arrangements so that everything they own or their estate will go to the right people when they die. Next to that is the company pension plan and benefits, in which companies tackle about the pension and benefits the employees can get from them when they retire. And lastly, companies tackle about the social security and success information that would be essential to employees who would retire. Now, I will be discussing about the paced retirement. So, a paced retirement includes a broad range of employment arrangements that allows an employee who is approaching retirement age to continue working, but it happens to have a reduced workload and eventually transition from full-time work to full-time retirement. So, a paced retirement may include a pre-retirement, gradual reduction in hours or days of work, post-retirement, part-time work for pensioners who wish to remain employed, and then part-time, seasonal, and temporary work or job sharing are also a work arrangement that can be a form of paced retirement. So, a paced retirement is seen as a benefit by many older workers as it allows them to gradually ease into retirement while maintaining a higher income than they would receive if they would quit work entirely. So, from the employer's point of view, on the other hand, paced retirement programs can be used to retain skilled older employees who would otherwise retire, to reduce labor costs, or to arrange for the training of replacement employees by older workers. Now, let's talk about retirement. I'm sure we are all familiar with retirement already. So, retirement refers to the time of life when one chooses to permanently leave the workforce behind. So, it means to withdraw from one's position, occupation, or active working life. Uh, an early retirement is typically considered at the age of 62, which is the earliest age an individual can collect Social Security retirement benefits. On the other hand, full retirement age is when an individual can collect the maximum amount of Social Security benefits, which is typically in the age of 67. However, Social Security benefits are reduced for those who decide to retire early. So, the aging workforce has three implications, and they are: first, companies must meet the needs of older employees. So, it's important to meet the needs of older employees in order to eliminate the possible negative effects that could happen not only to the employee but to the company or employer as well. Next is, companies must take steps to prepare employees for retirement. So, it is one of the implications because companies are required to prepare employees for retirement to show their gratitude and to show that they truly care for their employees. So, in here, they must implement programs for them and their retirement pays. And then, lastly, one of the implications of the aging workforce is the older workers usually feel discriminated when it comes to the retirement programs. That's why companies must be careful that early retirement programs do not unfairly discriminate against all older employees. So, early retirement occurs when an employee decides to retire before the age at which he or she becomes eligible to collect retirement resources such as Social Security and company pension. That's why it's important for companies to conduct the early retirement programs. So, early retirement programs are programs that are offered by companies to its employees, which usually includes financial benefits when leaving the companies. So, these programs are usually offered to avoid labor costs, but sometimes litigations or legal issues can occur. That's why, in order to prevent that issues, the programs must first be included in the employee benefit plan to save costs, and it must also justify age-related distinctions for eligibility. And lastly, employees must be allowed to choose early retirement voluntarily. Companies must never force employees to retire because when they do so, employees can legally complain, which can be a big disadvantage to both parties. So that ends my report about coping with job loss, coping with career breaks, and meeting the needs of older workers. And I hope you learned something from me. Thank you, and now let's go on to the next reporter.
Good day, I am Christina O. Parlero, your next presenter, and I'm going to discuss the topic about the future of training and development and how the future trends affect the training. When we say sustainability, it referred as the ability of a firm to produce a profit without sacrificing the resources of its employees, the community, or the environment. Nowadays, a rising number of businesses have made sustainability a key component of their business strategy. And when we say training for sustainability, it encompasses companies' sustainability initiatives through providing learning opportunities for employees in low resource organizations. So, giving development experiences for employees in low and emerging income nations that benefit the local community, and training employers about environmental protection. Increased use of new technologies for training, delivery, and instructions. For a variety of reasons, the use of social media, cell phones, and other new technology will undoubtedly increase in the future. Here are some reasons. First, the cost of these technologies will decrease. It increases productivity, speed, ease of sharing and storing information, reduces human error through automation, and etc. All these benefits lead to lower cost structure and an increase in revenue for businesses. Second, companies can use technologies to better prepare employees to serve customers and generate new business. Third, the use of these new technologies can substantially reduce the training cost related to bringing geographically dispersed employees to one central training location. Example, the travel, food, and the housing. Fourth, these technologies allow trainers to build into training many of the desirable features of a learning environment. Example, the practice, feedback, and reinforcement. Fifth, as companies employ more contingent employees, when we say contingent employees, they are the part-timers and consultants and offer more alternative work arrangement. Example, the flexible work schedules and working from home. Technology will allow training to be delivered to any place and at any time. Lastly, new technologies will make it easier for training and performance support to be accessible to learners anytime and any place. And here are the new technological advances that will likely influence training delivery and instruction. First is the wearables. It can be smartwatches, bands, or smartwear. Next is gamification, wireless tablet-based technology, mobile learning, augmented reality, virtual communication, TinCan API or Experience API, Learning Record Store or LRS, and lastly, the artificial intelligence. The next term is augmented reality. Augmented reality refers to a live, direct, or indirect view of a physical, real-world environment with computer-generated sound, video, graphics, or GPS data supplementing the elements. A learner can use augmented reality to enter books, magazines, and training rooms and experience them in three-dimensional form, just like they would in real life. Moreover, employees will be able to view available positions and professional choices, as well as the freedom to select courses that would help them build the skills and knowledge needed for these opportunities. Employees can talk about what they enjoy and find tough things about their jobs with their peers. The next term is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence will improve in human likeness and become more economical. The picture shown in the slide is an AI or artificial intelligence and her name is Amelia. Amelia is a computer that learns from textbooks, conversation transcriptions, email chains, and other documents. She can solve problems as long as the answer is in the data she receives. And she can also learn new things. Programmers have attempted to give her the ability to think like a human. And Amelia has already been put to the test in customer service call centers. Regardless of who calls, customer service relies on providing the correct answer to the same question. However, since Amelia is a robot, she does have three emotional states that are influenced by how customers communicate with her. These are the arousal, dominance, and pleasure. These feelings influence her decision making when it comes to dealing with clients. Artificial intelligence or AI robots like Amelia will most likely provide performance help or completely replace employees in non-expert repetitive activities in the future. The next terminology is TinCan API. When we say TinCan API, it is a learning technology specification that allows data to be collected about an employee's or a team's online and face-to-face learning experiences. TinCan API facilitates data collecting based on the reality that learning occurs everywhere. It utilizes many tools and methods such as simulations, virtual worlds, serious games, social cooperation, and real-world experiences and formal training programs. The second term is the Learning Record Store or LPS. Its function is to gather and maintain all learning events as statements that may be structured and presented in a meaningful way, and LRS can communicate with one another, allowing learner activity data to be easily shared across businesses. Employees can have their own personal lockers where they can store their personal learning history. When learning is ongoing or concluded, enabled devices can submit TinCan API assertions automatically. The Learning Record Store can be used to demonstrate the connection between learning experiences and business outcomes like sales, revenue, customer satisfaction, safety, and staff engagement. The breakthroughs and neuroscience about learning. Neuroscience advances are improving researchers' ability to examine the brain and its functioning. This leads to a greater knowledge of how humans learn, which can then be used to create more successful training and development programs. Increased emphasis on speed in design, focus on content, and use of multiple delivery methods. Because of new technology, trainers are being challenged to find new ways to use instructional design. The first instructional design is the Rapid Instructional Design or RID. RID is a set of techniques that permits training to be built faster. RID alters the training design model, which includes needs assessment, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. RID is based on two key elements. One advantage is that instructional content and process can be created independently of one another. Second to its advantage is that resources spent to instructional design and delivery can be shifted as needed. Design encompasses everything that occurs prior to the training experience. Delivery encompasses everything that occurs during the training experience. So that's all. This is the end of my report and thank you for listening. This is Christina o Parlero, your presenter.
Good day. I am the sixth and final reporter from Group 4 and my name is Coleen Nudo. I'm going to report about the increased emphasis on capturing and sharing intellectual capital and social learning, the increased use of just-in-time learning and performance support, the increased use of stakeholder-focused learning, training partnerships and outsourcing training, and the implications of future trends for trainer skills and competencies. First off, increased emphasis on capturing and sharing intellectual capital and social learning. The key to real business success is to build your company's intellectual capital. Traditionally, training departments invest in training delivery. The focus is on delivering knowledge to team members rather than creating a dialogue with employees. Trainers and the training department will be changed with managing knowledge and coordinating organizational learning from experts and increase the value of human capital. The use of technology in training and to store and communicate knowledge means trainers' knowledge on technology. An Oxford University academic suggests that intellectual capital relies on social relationships. These relationships let people come together and share information. This makes it easier to share knowledge and boost the company's intellectual capital. The best part is that when people share old information, they also create new information. Learners are at their knowledge creating best when the workplace is a circus of social activity. What is intellectual capital? Intellectual capital is the total of company's knowledge. If you were to take a big syringe and extract all the knowledge from every employee and every relationship, you'd end up with a huge vat of intellectual capital. What is social learning? Social learning refers to learning with and from others. We can learn from others in face-to-face interactions occurring in classrooms, conferences, and group meetings, as well as online using social media apps such as Twitter and social networks such as Facebook. Potentially, through sharing ideas, information, and experiences, we can learn more with others than we can alone. Increased use of just-in-time learning and performance support. Companies are renouncing course materials and programs as a means of performance enhancement in favor of genuine performance assistance that is available throughout the work process. Just-in-time learning, also known as embedded learning, is learning that takes place on the job when needed, and it includes collaborative and non-learning technology like instant messaging as well as knowledge management. Just-in-time learning is a method of individual or organizational learning and development that encourages need-based training to be provided when and how the learner requires it. Employees will be presented with brief learning episodes integrated in their job in the scenario, and they will be informed when the learning episodes are required, with a connection to an expert for help. Employees who register can learn from experts, colleagues, and softwares. Embedded learning products include SaaS-specific real-time content and simulation that are accessible during work, as well as real-time collaboration and virtual workspaces. Recent rapid adoption of wireless technology is connecting employees directly to business processes. Training departments must shift the focus from training as the solution to business problems to a performance analysis approach. A performance analysis approach involves identifying performance gaps or deficiencies and examining training as one possible solution for the business unit's customers. Training departments will need to continue instructing managers to consider all potential causes of poor performance before deciding that training is the solution. Poor employee performance may be due to poor management, inefficient technologies, or outdated technology rather than deficiencies in skill or knowledge. Three ways that training departments will need to be involved are 1. Focusing on interventions related to performance improvement, 2. Providing support for high-performance work systems, and 3. Developing systems for training administration, development, and delivery that reduce costs and increase employees' access to learning. Training departments' responsibilities will likely include a greater focus on systems that employees can use for information, such as expert systems or electronic performance support systems, on an as-needed basis. In the future, the emerging interest in collecting and using big data related to learning, training, and development will continue to grow. Increased use of stakeholder-focused learning, training, partnerships, and outsourcing training. Regardless of the size or sector of your business, learning and development is fundamental to the growth of your company. Training used to be classified as a nice to have in most businesses, but nowadays, companies understand that. In order to maintain competitive and sustainable, ongoing training is foundational in supporting the needs of the business. The significance of making learning, training, and development strategic by ensuring that it supports the company plan and the needs of various stakeholders such as managers, workers, and customers was covered in Part 2. As learning professionals and organizations understand that growing internal human capital and delivering learning services to consumers may provide competitive advantage, the focus on strategic learning impacting various stakeholders will continue in the future. This aids in the development and retention of a pleased, skilled, and inventive staff, as well as the attraction, retention, and satisfaction of consumers. As we saw in Part 1, demographic, global, and technological developments are causing a skills gap that is posing problems for businesses in the United States and throughout the world. Furthermore, the present education to employment system does not adequately prepare children and adults for the economy of the 21st century. Many employees find it difficult to refresh the skills and knowledge needed for their present employment or to prepare for careers in different fields due to barriers between business and educational institutions. Part 10: Social Responsibility, Legal Issues, Managing Diversity, and Career Challenges discuss business and education relationships. To address the skill gaps, additional corporate, school, and community collaborations will likely be formed to restore employment, education to employment networks. By integrating employee training and elementary through high school career education programs, career academies, and higher education programs into a lifelong learning system, these partnerships aim to help individuals prepare for higher skill and higher wage jobs while also attracting new companies to the area. A lifelong learning system can help more individuals gain the skills they'll need for a variety of professions and careers they'll likely hold throughout the course of their lives. Additionally, as a result of the increased urgency to find ways to eliminate unemployment, underemployment, and skill gaps, federal, state, and local governments are likely to provide more economic incentives for retraining employees, such as tax credits and tax breaks for businesses that invest in training, as well as the expansion of lifelong learning accounts. Lifelong learning accounts, or LILAs, LILAS, refer to an account for education to which both the employee and the company contribute. The employee keeps the account even if they leave the company to pay for additional education at vocational schools and colleges and universities. The second part examined why companies outsource their training. Employees need to learn the specialized new information, and organizations wants to get access at best practices and cost reductions, to name a few reasons. Consultants, professors, graduate students, and corporations in the entertainment and mass media sectors are examples of external providers. Training services can be provided by external vendors as partners or as single providers. The crucial choice for business will be how much training to outsource rather than whether to outsource at all. Lastly, the implication of future trends for trainer skills and competencies. According to recent studies, the ASTD competence, model abilities, and knowledge will be needed in the future. However, the capacity of trainers to use technology more efficiently will be emphasized even more. In addition, as business grow more global, training techniques and material will need to adapt to local cultures. The abilities that trainers will need to learn in the future are depicted in the infographic below. Matching training content and methods to the local culture of the workforce. Designing learning space as well as content in technology-driven learning environments. Use of multimedia tools including audio, video, webcast, and live action. Delivering and packaging training in different formats for beginners and experts. Use of assessment to determine trainees' learning style. Developing search and identify techniques so employees can find information and training when they need it. Be a change agent, facilitating learning and staying in touch with employees, managers, and business units to identify what they need and making suggestions regarding tools, processes or procedures that could help them work more efficiently, developing and delivering learning that's integrated with the job, understand how social media can be used for learning, the limitations of social media and ability to make a business case for it, and identify the root cause of job and business problems. And that's all. Thank you. This is the report by Group 4.